I love seeing a movie that not only documents your time meeting him, but watching your kids experience that with you. Like I said, my son was like, man, whatever about the wrestling thing I watched. Your kids got all up in that.
Well, and the funny thing about my kids is that this as a parent, you're trying to teach your parents what right and wrong is, right? Or I'm sorry, you're trying to teach your children what right and wrong is.
Your parents do sometimes, yeah.
Right? And so literally my kids are pointing out every fucking time what I did was wrong and asking me like when my kid asks me, why do you have his towel? And I have no answer for that.
No. What's great about that is your reaction. You're flipping. You're like, don't touch the towel. Don't touch the towel.
But my kid, again, nobody is as famous as Michael Jordan is. Like I tell a middle-aged man that I have Michael Jordan's towel from a game. He's like, can I see it?
Right.
Here's it. Oh my fucking God. You tell that to a kid, they're like, why did you want that? What the fuck's wrong with you? And that is very funny. Like, there's no way to ignore the fact that it was insane that I took his towel. If you really think about it, without the magic of hero worship, you took his towel. What the fuck is wrong? It's kind of gross. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, it's weird. I got nothing for you, kid.
It's 25. It's kind of stink, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Let's Michael Jordan's towel. Right.
I'm glad I could make it.
Hear you great, brother.
I'm sitting in the time machine.
I see that.
I figured that was the best place to hang out.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm super busy today. The first day of the year is always busy for me because I'm getting ready for all the stuff I'm doing this year and trying to get the site ready. And but I'm happy to say hey, and it was awesome to meet you and look forward to finally meeting you in person when all this shit is. Oh my God! Do that. You can just come by GolfCon and say hey, dude. You don't need to spend $2,000, brother.
Well, I had no problem coming down to the bar and sitting there playing GolfCon either. That's fine too.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to yet another brand new installment of the Dads, not always, on wrestling. I, of course, am the Renegade J.J. Williams, and if you don't remember that after about a year of being back, then you're in the wrong place. This man over here next to me is the West Coast Professor, the man who runs the network. No, we're not talking about Cyrus. We're talking about Jeff motherfucking Meacham. And we are here today to discuss the Rumble. Now, full disclosure, as Jeff has already mentioned a couple times on the network, this is a reshoot, because somebody didn't download the file in time before the 15 days expired. Yeah. So it's a reshoot, but you know what? It is what it is, baby. We're going to be talking about the top 10 matches that occurred at the Rumble, as well as the top 10 Rumble winners themselves. In our opinions, as always, subjective entertainment. Remember that. Jeff?
Yes, sir.
What have you got to say for this?
Well, as you pointed out, as Truth has said so many times over the years, okay, my bad. We're reshooting this. It's literally yesterday that we're doing this, by the way. Thursday's going to be a busy day for me because we're doing this we're doing at least one other show, and then we're doing our live
That's right. We're going to premiere the live show.
Yes. So if you didn't
Which
catch
by
the
the
live
time
show
you see
yesterday,
this, yeah, I was going to say, which by the time you see this, it's already happened. So if you watched it, thank you. If you didn't, go back and watch it.
and
Please.
if you didn't see it, that means we didn't tape it because my internet's a piece of shit. So, there you go. There's that. And then I'm doing the WTC post game yesterday. So it's bananas. So anyway, but as you did say, as we always say on the Dads, not always on wrestling, everything you see and hear is strictly that. It's opinion. It is hashtag
Jack Tiff.
If you have a different opinion, we welcome that on this channel, especially on this show. If you have the same opinion, well, that's great. That means we got you, boo. We got you. It's all good. So
we're hitting the mark. We got it right on the nose there.
Yes, and the Rumble is such a anomaly for opinions because there's been so many twists and turns since 1988 for the match, for the show, for the company. Unfortunately, we lost the man behind the vision last year. Pat Patterson, of course, the Hall of Famer, passed away at the ripe old age of none damn business. And and seeing Pat's story on the network as it unfolded this week was so cool. We've all known, at least since Legends House, if not before, it was the worst kept secret in the business. I mean, let's be real. But, to have them openly acknowledge how much of a pioneer Pat was and how visionary he was, and to have him and Louis honored the way they were on that network special, I think was so tremendous. And it can only happen during Rumble Week because this is his show. This is his baby.
It had to. I mean, you could argue Mania, but Mania wasn't his vision. The Rumble was. And the Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view every year.
Yes.
I know it's well established on your channel that it's Greg's favorite as well.
Right.
But it's always been my favorite. I mean, yeah, you've got WrestleMania. That's our Super Bowl.
Of course.
You've got SummerSlam. That always falls around my birthday. People would assume that's my favorite because it falls around my birthday. It's my birthday show. No.
Exactly.
I love the unpredictability of the Rumble.
Yes.
From debuts like Taz in 2000 and AJ in 2016 to surprise entrances in the Rumble match. Like when Diesel came out in 2011 and Matt Stryker damn near shit himself.
Right.
That is probably the greatest call on a match that I've ever heard in my life because he's like, holy shit, he has to catch himself and censor himself because the little fan inside of Stryker is marking out so hard.
It was so cool. And, having met Stryker like we've met a few times, and having encountered Kevin over the years, that was a great moment for Kevin because he was like, he told Vince, I'm not dyeing my hair. Of course, the hair's black, got the glove on, he's ready to go. Because when Vince says something, he's the worst person to say no to. He will not take no for an answer. He's worse than your teenage daughter or my teenage son. It ain't gonna happen. So it's just not. That was great. And yeah, Matt Stryker, like I said, I don't know if I said it with you on the air with me or not. I am so glad he and D'Lo are the Impact commentary team now because he's great on the call, and D'Lo is so knowledgeable that he does such a great job with the color commentary. But I digress.
It's been so long since I've seen anything Impact, but it is cool to see that they're working as a team. That's cool.
Very cool. And
98, the three faces of Foley in the Rumble.
Yes. Yes.
Who would have thought?
This Rumble is. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It happens. It's the delay. It's the internet. It is what it is, as we say around here. Buy the T-shirt. But who would have thought that we'd see the three faces of Foley in the same match like that? Only Mick Foley could pull that off.
Absolutely. And we've never seen it since. Nobody's done that with their various gimmicks since, where they've been in the same match more than once.
Well, there's not too many people out there that could pull it off.
Right.
I mean, I think the closest you could probably come to would be Kane. Because he could come out there as freaking Isaac Yankem. He could come out there as the fake Diesel. He could come out there with the mask, and he could come out there without the mask.
Yes, very true.
And he could even come out as Authority Kane.
Right. Director of Operations. There you go, baby. Now, what I love about Glenn Jacobs is he is, as of now, the most prolific performer in Royal Rumble history. He has been in every one since at least 1996, except for maybe one or two, either as Isaac Yankem, as the Bogus Diesel, and of course as the Big Red Machine Kane. So, and if he wasn't in the match, he was directly involved in the show at some point in 1998, Casket on Fire. So, you know,
and let's
Kane,
not forget how long his record stood until Roman broke it.
Right. And what I found so funny is Roman broke it, and then like maybe a year later, maybe two, Strowman went, hold my beer. Like it's like that record stood for almost, you know, over 15 years almost, and then it just got wiped away twice. So, and then, you know, the record for a single Rumble appearance, cumulative wise, of course, got broken when they introduced the Greatest Royal Rumble because of Daniel Bryan's performance in that match. But, and Greg will shit on me for saying this. I don't care. He ain't here. Pure regular Royal Rumble, Rey Mysterio is still the man as far as length in the match, win or lose. So 62-12. But yes, Bryan was in the Greatest Royal Rumble. I think he's still in that match now as we speak. That match was so long. So, you know, right around there. Almost as long as Curtis Axel was in the Rumble a few years ago himself. So there's that.
There you go.
He still hasn't been eliminated from that Rumble for what it's worth. And I don't care what anybody says. If you watch Rewind today, which is going to be yesterday also. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rewind yesterday also. Scotty 2 Hotty wins the Royal Rumble 2005. Greg has a great case. Watch that show from yesterday. I'm telling you. All right.
There you go.
So, in that vein, we're going to go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and do my non-Rumble pay-per-view matches first.
Perfect, because that's the one I've got loaded up here next to me to do also. So
beautiful. All right, in sync. Telling you.
Great minds, great minds.
It is scary, right? All right, so number 10 for me is probably going to surprise a lot of people, mainly because I crap on this the challenger in this match when it comes to his Rumble history. I just mentioned it. Rey Mysterio challenging The Undertaker for the World Heavyweight Championship in 2010.
Okay.
On paper, you look at this and go, wait, what? He's going to kill him.
It's your classic David versus Goliath.
Yeah, and it literally is, you know, Rey Mysterio, the man of mystery, the king of mystery, versus the man from the dark side. It's a great underlying, like, story fable type thing. So it's just it's a great thing on paper, but of course you get him in the ring. Undertaker, even 2010, was still freaking fabulous, still doing his thing, kicking ass as the World Heavyweight Champion. Only lost that world title because of a Shawn Michaels super kick in the chamber the next month. So let's be real on that. And they had Rey Mysterio, who, you know, even with 45,000 knee surgeries already under his belt by then, you know, he could still fly around the ring like Rey Mysterio. So I actually found I've gone back and watched Rumbles along the way here, as I always do every year. And this match really surprised me again. I was legitimately impressed with both guys at that stage of their career. Mysterio, you know, roughly 15 years into his North American mainstream career. Undertaker, you know, almost 20 in already. So it shouldn't have been as good as it was. And it was better than I thought it was going to be. So I enjoy it thoroughly. Probably the only time you're going to hear me praise Mysterio as far as a Rumble appearance situation. So don't know in those ships law, kids. Number 9 is going to be one of 3 tag team matches in a row on my list.
Jesus.
But this match is the most non-traditional of the 3. As far as, it's not really a tag team match, it's pretty much a cluster. And it goes all over the garden. It ends up in the balcony with your favorite crazy person in mind, Jeff Hardy, diving off the table onto the Dudleys. Hardy's, Dudleys, 2000. I mean,
tag team tables.
We go from a ladder match with Edge and Christian and the Hardys at No Mercy, at wherever the hell No Mercy was that year. Help me out there, Stat Boy, if you're not that you're watching right now because you're not here with us.
I want to say it was the Gund Arena, Cleveland, Ohio.
You're right. Thank you very much. I as soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah. Dude, that arena's got some serious freaking history. Let's just talk about that next time. Goodness sakes. So you go from
but
the
like
arena
Morrison pointed out, nothing good comes out of Cleveland.
Well, let's see. If we're gonna go there,
as he's standing next to his partner with the Money in the Bank briefcase, just throwing that out there.
Right, tremendous. We have a ladder match which changed tag team history, which is a good thing. But on the flip side, you had the Raw Nitro simulcast from Cleveland. It led to bad things. And then the Invasion pay-per-view, which led to bad things. So I can kind of see where Morrison's coming from there. But as was obvious there, The Miz is from nearby Cleveland, and Jerry Lawler's a Cleveland sports fan. So kind of go back and forth there. But anyway, there we are in the weeds. 13 minutes in, we already went off in the damn weeds. Here we go. So
we're only in the second match.
Second match. Here we go. So, all right. So we go from a groundbreaking ladder match between two tag teams. First time there ever been a tag team ladder match. To the first time we have a tag team table match in the Garden, no less. And the Hardys are involved again, this time with those damn Dudley boys, as JR would famously say many times when they damn near killed Mae Young. And she actually lived 10 more years, at least. Crazy old bat. But then you go from that to the Triangle Ladder match at WrestleMania, which I was at. You were almost at. You were there the next night. And then tag team wrestling and WWF really got reshaped between October and April. Yep. And this table match falls right in the center of that because these two teams just, I mean, Bubba Ray, I'm pretty sure Bully Ray is certifiably crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure he's nuts. Devon is scared of heights, so you won't see him up in the balcony doing the shit Bubba was doing. No doubt about that. And then you've got Matt and Jeff Hardy.
He was doing the dangled from the freaking rings.
Twice. Dude, Devon got hazard pay those two nights. He was like, all right, Vince, cough it up, motherfucker.
It's like, okay, we're going to do a spot. Let's draw straw, see who's going to do it. Devon. Fuck.
Short. I get it. Short to the black man. I see how it is. Twice. I see you that, Vince. I see you.
But then out of those three matches, it evolved into TLC. And, TLC just set the bar so high.
Yes. And, of course, TLC went into the Hardys' backyard. Yeah, there you go. And in North Carolina.
I'm trying to show that I've been actually following current product here.
So you go from TLC, SummerSlam, TLC 2 in Houston, TLC 3, lest we forget,
on
was
SmackDown.
Hero Ways. So the forgotten TLC because of participants involved. But yeah.
Forgotten TLC, first of all, because it was on SmackDown. It didn't have the pay-per-view DVD release for people to be able to really watch it. And then later because of one of the participants.
Right. That whole show was so bonkers because Hunter had just torn his quad. The whole company was going, oh crap, what do we do? Because we had everything banking on Austin and Hunter, and it's like, oh shoot. So, but you know what? They made the pivot to Kurt, and it worked great. So, anyway, that whole evolution of tag team wrestling over the course of roughly a year and a half, 2 years, this table match was key. Because it involved tables, which involved the Dudleys, which really got the tag team triple threat feud, which y'all know me in triple threats. But it really got it into full swing. And I was so in awe of being my first WrestleMania anyway, that the spectacle of a triangle ladder match with the tables and the chairs involved, of course, leading to TLC later, just made it that much more crazy for me. And this table match, I really feel, even maybe more so than the ladder match at No Mercy, really got that ball rolling into Anaheim and then into North Carolina. So take that for what it's worth, but I love this match. I also love this match for a completely different reason. Number 8 from 1994, the World Tag Team Champions, Quebecers, versus the Hart Brothers.
Okay.
Now, in and of itself, the story of the match is beautiful because you've got Brett who wants nothing more than his family to stay together, not splinter, and he wants to guide Owen to a tag team title for the very first time in his still very young career back in '94, even though Owen had been around for a while. But he wouldn't tag out. He wouldn't tag out of the ring. He kept taking the punishment. And Jacques and Pierre just worked on Brett's knee and worked on Brett's knee and took him out. And the referee called the match. And Owen went from struggling, to stay together mentally during the match. He snapped. He completely lost his damn mind. And he kicked the leg right out of the leg of his brother. Just terrible, terrible thing. Watch the promo if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, because the promo's cool too.
Well, we had all been taught about 10 years earlier, sweep the leg. Karate Kid reference if you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
And I did know what you were talking about, but I kind of figured you were going there because, Karate Kid's still a thing I haven't seen still. So
with Cobra Kai being popular. Now,
exactly.
Try to sneak another reference in. I'm on my A game today, baby.
Every day of the mother effing week, kids.
I'm glad this is a reshoot. I'm able to sneak some shit in.
Yeah. If you've been watching Tom Hanks month all month of the Renegade, we appreciate that because Tom Hanks movies are always good shit, pal. So please, first of all, watch these movies and then listen to this man talk about it because it all syncs up together. It's beautiful, brother. So there's that. But yes, the Quebecers and the Hearts. It leads to what I feel is often a forgotten, major, heated family drama feud that kind of gets lost in the history of the Attitude Era, pre-Attitude Era shuffle. Because, people think of great feuds all the time in WWF, WWE. They really don't talk about the Hart brothers. And I go, why? These guys, it's very much like the Undertaker Kane thing, but they're actually brothers. And Brett refused, and he refused, and he refused. And finally, Owen just pushed that one button on that Canadian maple leaf at Brett's ass. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm beat your ass. And then Owen wins at WrestleMania in the first match.
Quite possibly the greatest curtain jerker at Mania ever.
It's yeah. I can't argue with that because it is that good. And I can't think of a better opening match at WrestleMania. Regal and Jericho almost get there, but not quite. And you remember the Regal Jericho feud was pretty cornball. So they didn't have the visceral, brotherly opposition that this ended up coming out of this match. And like I said, the story of the match is great. The aftermath is even better. So if you've not seen this match, you've got a couple days for the 2021 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Go watch this show and go watch this match. Goodness. And then go watch Brett win the Rumble. Let's not forget about that. He limped his sorry ass out there and co-won the damn thing. So,
in fact, just go back and watch Survivor Series 93.
Yes, that match.
Watch that with the Hart brothers. Then watch the Rumble tag team match. Then watch the Mania 10 match. Then watch the SummerSlam match. Watch those 4 matches in order. And tell us that this is not one of the best feuds.
And then the reconciliation the week after WrestleMania 13. Just the boo-hoo. Owen was good for the crocodile tears in 94 with Backlund. But man, he really turned it up when he and Brett reunited in 97 with Davey. That was just such a great moment on Raw. Go watch that too. All right. Number 7, really, it's basically Jack Crowd in the grand scheme of things in wrestling history. But it's such a damn good match. I have to mention it every time I talk about the Royal Rumble history. 1991, the Rockers versus the Orient Express. If you think about it, you've got a AWA retread here. I'll tell you what. When Sato left the WWF, and I think he either retired or went back to Japan. I can't remember what he did. They brought in the masked man Kato to team with Pat Tanaka. Kato was Paul Diamond. Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka were bad company in the AWA and feuded with the Midnight Rockers. So
The more you know.
people don't know that, and I feel like I've been grossly underwhelming with my info about that, because at the time I was doing the old show, my co-host was greatly acquainted with Paul, and I didn't want to, be that guy. But I don't give a shit. But yeah, Paul and Pat being back together again, people didn't know. People thought it was some, Asian, some Japanese guy in a mask, Mr. Fuji with Tanaka. But Bad Company and the Rockers on a WWF stage was so cool. In 91, you don't know that. I'm not even 8 years old. I don't know these two teams, who Kato is. I don't know him from Adam, but these two teams in 91, I was a fan of the Rockers, and I was a fan of the match. It was a great match. These two teams never had a bad match in AWA or in WWF ever, and they really turned it on here in 91. I don't remember if it was the opening match. I kind of look back now. I've watched 30-something Rumbles. Leave me alone. But this match was so good, and then when you get knowledgeable about the history and you go, oh shit, that was Bad Company and the Rockers. Holy crap. Just makes it so much better in your head. It's great, great stuff. I love it. I love it. All right. Now we're going to get into some stuff we've all seen together as a group, or, we've all witnessed in our post-Attitude Era lifetimes. Number 6 is the only time that a undisputed champion appears on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Chris Jericho versus The Rock. Now, I say only time. Wait a minute. They unified the belts in 2013. There was a TNA title and an NWA title then that was a world title. So hush your face. I'm the professor. You're the student. Shut up and listen. Thank you very much. So, all right. But Jericho and The Rock. Some heels, they'll win by a low blow, right? Some heels, they'll win by interference. Some heels, they'll win with their feet on the ropes, just to make sure they have the extra leverage.
Dubious circumstances, as we like to call it.
Chris Jericho being the GOAT, hell, he did all three. He had the interference of Storm and Christian. He ball shot at The Rock, and he put his feet on the ropes because he's a champion, and that's what champions do, damn it.
Exactly.
This match was really a culmination of a rather long brewing feud for what it was. I mean, it really started when Jericho first showed up 3 years prior. But
very
it
much so.
High gear when The Rock won the WCW Championship during the Invasion storyline. Jericho had yet to win the big one, as we heard about for a freaking month and a half. And then he won with a dubious circumstance. He had a chair involved doing the breakdown move, but he won the title. And Stephanie helped him, which was so funny because she didn't mean to then. So great. And then it just kind of evolved and rolled along the path there all the way to Vengeance when he became the champion. And then into this match where he retained after all kinds of shenanigans. Lest we forget the irony of ironies, the heel referee involved in helping Jericho remain the champion was Nick Patrick. And if you follow Chris Jericho and Nick Patrick in WCW, you were what the hell like I was. So there's that. Great championship match to lead us into the Rumble, which of course became Jericho versus Triple H. Arguably the worst championship build in WrestleMania history, unfortunately, because it was such a stupid storyline. It really wasn't even Jericho. It was Hunter versus Stephanie. Terrible. I felt so bad for Chris. All right.
Chris Jericho, the original CM Punk.
That's right. Although Jericho did main event of WrestleMania.
True.
He actually stood there in the middle of the ring as the champion going into Mania. So there you go. Number 5. All right, I need everybody to grab their seat handles and be prepared for a shocker here because I'm going to shock you guys. I have a triple threat championship match on my top 10 list. It's true. It's true. Now, when you think about
I brought back the pen toss.
got it. Okay, very good. Okay. And when you think about triple threat matches and you think about Royal Rumble, what else can I be talking about? WWE champion Brock Lesnar versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins. This was Seth Rollins' coming out party. Let me be clear on that right here, right now. Yes, he cashed in at Mania. Yes, he, pulled off the ultimate shocker. The heist of the century, as Michael Cole called it, WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble was his time to go. Yeah, I still got this briefcase. I'm still here. Hi. He and John and even Brock tore the freaking house down. They told the Rumble, follow that. And it didn't at all because Roman won that Rumble and it was a complete train wreck crowd-wise. And this match didn't help that one bit because this match was awesome. And these three guys, so funny. John at this point is 13 years into his run. Brock has been back for 3 years almost. Seth is still really starting to formulate who he is as a main event superstar. But I will sit here and say right now, in 2015, in January, all three of these guys were at their prime operating capacity as wrestlers in the WWE. And they showed it in this match. To have me put a triple threat match on a top 10, it's good shit, pal. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Number 4 is just one of my favorite things ever, wrestling, wrestling-wise. It's also one of my favorite things, entertainment, period. It's just such a beautiful story that got told going in, and a story that got told during the match, and a post-match story that led to another match with these two the following month inside a very demonic structure. But here in the Garden, in the year 2000, Triple H and Cactus Jack just bludgeoned each other. Let's not be delicate about that.
Yeah.
These two had a street fight for the WWF Championship in the Garden. Triple H didn't walk out of there on his own. He ended up with a freaking puncture wound in the back of his calf from a shard of wood. Ew. Mick Foley somehow retained eyesight in one of his eyes when attack was right here after a pedigree. And he admitted it the other day on post. Vince told them no thumbtacks. So they went against the boss in that match, which you went against the boss in the Garden. You better hope you're retiring, dumbass, because you bet to get got.
Well, Paul's a McMahon anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. The storyline McMahon at the time, and that's okay. But yeah, so. But this whole story, we said it the first time we shot this, so I'm gonna go ahead and retread my own shit here. But
it's okay.
That moment on SmackDown where the beaten, broken down Mankind comes out after Dennis Knight. God bless Dennis Knight and his bogus Mankind. Which, by the way, now that I have the prop, I can actually go ahead and do it. The fact that Mankind beat up Dennis Knight in front of the ride with the DeLorean Back to the Future in Florida, that just warms my heart to see that ride exist on film at all. It makes my friggin' day. Even if it wasn't out here, it's okay. But after all that, Dennis Knight, the bogus Mankind's in the ring, pretty much kowtowing Triple H's wins, as he do. And Mankind walks out there with the shirt he wore on Monday that had been bloodied up from what we thought we saw a glimpse of, but we weren't sure. We weren't really sure what happened at the end of Raw Monday night. So Mankind walks out there, and, Mankind's a lot of things, but one thing he's not is ready to face you for a street fight at the Rumble. But I do have a substitute in mind. I think the guy, and Mick says this in his book. He's trying to do this fast enough where people are going to start chanting Rocky because they're going to assume it's The Rock. So he pulls the mask off, and people are starting to buzz, and then he pulls that dress shirt off, and there's the Cactus Jack Wanted shirt, and freaking Chicago just pops off their nut. My God, I've never heard of ovation for something so simple like that. But man, the freaking it's the Allstate Arena now, but the Rosemont Horizon, whatever it was back then, just oh goodness sakes, just
The
completely.
next time there would be a pop like that in Chicago was when Punk came out to challenge Cena for the title. There would not be a pop of that level in Chicago.
And a half years later.
Yeah. There would not be a pop of that magnitude in Chicago until that night.
WrestleMania, because you had Shawn and Hunter both doing the DX things. That got a pretty decent pop, but not like that. And them and Punk won the title. Holy crap. Anyway, Hunter's reaction is key. And people really crapped on Hunter when he was the world champion in the early to mid 2000s, me included. I'm not gonna skirt away from my own responsibility there. We both, but me especially on the old podcast we used to do. I mean, it was basically a statement on our show. How can we crap on Triple H today? But this reaction to the transformation from Mankind to Cactus Jack. There's no Hunter reaction. Yeah, the pop's there, but all Hunter has to do is go, it's the same idiot Muppet guy, just wearing a different shirt. Okay. But man, I don't know how he did this physically. The color drained from his face. It was, oh my God, I'm going to die. And Cactus Jack, I mean, I don't encourage this my own self personally. Really, I don't. But if you want to see Cactus Jack in the Japanese death matches, look him up. Cactus Jack is insane.
And I remember once upon a time when I was first getting into wrestling, I had bought one of the FMW VHSs.
Oh, yeah.
And on there was a Cactus match. I forget who his opponent was. It wasn't Terry.
No.
But I forget who his opponent was, but there was a Cactus match on there, which was part of why I bought it. And holy fuck, dude.
Yeah. Wow. And even not being able to go into full-on Japanese deathmatch mode, him and Hunter really got into places they didn't need to go. Handcuffs, tacks, and like I said, shards of wood, impaling calves. That's just says it all right there. So good grief.
Hunter was already the game. Without Cactus, I don't know if he would have become the cerebral assassin.
Yeah.
Because Cactus took him to that darkness.
Right. It's one of those things where Mick Foley knew his role in '99. He was the placeholder, getting the Rock ready.
He knew his
getting
role.
the Rock ready for Austin. Here, Mick Foley's like, well, I'm going to retire, but I might as well go out on top. And he got Hunter ready. Because you remember, once Mick retired, it was Rock and Hunter for a good 3-4 months after that.
I remember.
Yeah, I know you remember because it was like, oh, God, back and forth. Here we go. And the saddest part about that whole thing is the freaking monotony got broken by a guy with a booger in his nose. And that's all I remember.
Like, don't get me wrong. I always loved the Rock and Hunter feud, but like, Jesus Christ.
Seriously, WrestleMania Final 2, Backlash, Judgment Day, and then the 6-man at King of the Ring. Jeez, my knee. But this match, Hunter and Cactus at the Rumble, I don't. It's my personal favorite WWF Championship match at the Royal Rumble. I have 3 that are on top of it because of the match quality, but this is my personal favorite.
Okay.
Probably because I've met Mick so many times now, and I know how Mick is so not this guy. It's funny now. And you know what? I'll call a spade. Same with Triple H. He's not that guy. So
yeah.
All right. Number 3 is 2 guys that one guy we've met once together. His opponent we've met let's see, over the course of PWG shows, probably about 600 times between the two of us, you and I.
Well, I'm going to guess the opponent is phenomenal then.
Very much so. As a matter of fact, he's
And I'm
the
going
champion.
to guess that the other guy is one whom you can't see.
You are correct, sir. 2017, John Cena challenging WWE champion AJ Styles.
So basically,
Again,
AJ Styles in the ring by himself because you can't see John Cena, just like Randy Orton walked to the ring in 2004, found the World Heavyweight Championship, and left.
that's a whole different kind of invisible. That's a whole other kind of visibility factor.
But
and by
it's
the way,
funny.
and it's funny. It's funny. And by the way, you haven't heard his name yet for a reason. Anyway, so again, I mentioned it when I talked about the triple threat match with Cena earlier. John Cena is 15 years in here, and he's still John Cena. He's still Big Match John. Don't count him out. And AJ Styles, who is almost 20 years into his career here. And he's only been in WWE. He debuted at the previous Rumble. He's in the company a year, and he's main eventing the following year against John friggin' Cena. Like, holy crap, what a story that is in of itself.
Right.
And okay. I will be as objective as possible. You know how I get with John. Did John really need to be the 16-time champion? No. Did he really need to win it here? Only loses to Bray the following month? No, he didn't. But I'll tell you what, you put that match on, the most jaded of John Cena fans, they will be a believer again, man. This guy worked his ass off to take that title from AJ Styles. He threw a super AA at him, and he still kicked out. It took 2 back-to-back AAs, bing, bing, right in a row for the phenomenal one to go down, which shows you how great AJ Styles still is to this day here as we sit here on January 29th, 2021. He's still, in my opinion, one of the 2 best wrestlers in North America. I will die on that hill. Shoot me. I don't care. He and Daniel Bryan are still the top 2 guys in North America. I don't give a shit. I don't. The only reason that Bray Wyatt match is on here, by the way, is because I was torn between that Undertaker Mysterio, and I actually gave it to Undertaker Mysterio, which surprised my own self. But, you know, and also Bray versus Bryan really kind of dicked the main event, the Rumble match, because Batista winning and Bryan not being in the match really threw that whole train off the rails, which of course led to Bryan becoming champion, which wasn't a bad thing. But the initial step of the Rumble was like, ooh, not good, not good. Anyway.
Not a good look, Granddad.
Not a good look. So, number 2, I believe you've told me many times this is your favorite match of one of these guys' careers. So, if I'm wrong, correct me when I get there. From 2001, Chris Jericho challenging the Intercontinental Champion Chris Benoit in a ladder match. It is in a year where I don't think Jericho had a bad match on pay-per-view. I really don't think he did. In a year where I really don't think Benoit had a bad match on pay-per-view all year for the 6 months he was actually on pay-per-view before he got hurt. I only think this isn't Benoit's best effort of 2001 because he got in a program with Kurt Angle. Like, I mean, that's what it took to bump Jericho off that spot because Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit got married for 3 months. So, you know, there's that. But these 2 guys, Benoit less than a year into his WWF career, Jericho less than 2, went out there on a card where you had Kurt Angle defending against Triple H for the WWF Championship, where you had the return of Haku, the anointment of the fact that Undertaker and Kane were back together, Stone Cold winning the Rumble, and
Kane's
Jericho and Benoit went out there and went, I got you. It's okay.
And Kane's dominance.
Yeah, exactly. And that was Kane's night of dominance.
That was the record-setting night.
And guys left a lasting impression. And why is that? Because Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit were, at the time, 2 of the best wrestlers on the frickin' planet.
Still are. I know Benoit isn't going to get the praise he deserves.
I'm not going to
those
sugarcoat
are
it because of what Chris Benoit.
If those two men are not in your top 10 technical wrestlers of all time, you need to reevaluate your list. Bottom line.
Yeah, and again, we do understand why you're hesitant to do that, and that's fine. But you need to look at everything but the last weekend of June 2007. That's all I'm saying. And I will keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. These two guys went in on, like you said, Jay, a record-setting night and damn near stole the show from the Rumble match itself. Number one definitely stole the show from the Rumble itself.
Yes, I have a feeling your number one is my number one.
Oh, wow. Holy crap.
I have a feeling. Go ahead and say it, but I have a feeling.
Yeah. 2003, you have The Undertaker returning from injury at the hands of the Big Show. 2003, you have the continued rise of Brock Lesnar. But right before the Rumble match, you have quite possibly the most technically sound WWE Championship match in the history of WWE pay-per-view when Kurt Angle defends against Chris Benoit. It just...
Wow, okay. It's not my number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
This match... I think I remember what your number one is, but if I remember from the previous shoot. Again, put aside June 23rd to June 26th, 2007. Please, for a few moments while I wax Proxy Kids. Kurt Angle was literally, his neck was freaking bobbleheading at this point. He was about ready to go for surgery. Chris Benoit is fresh off one of them bobbleheads. Okay, he's still, recovering from the next. He'd only been back since June. These two guys went out there for how long was this match? Like it seemed like it went on forever, beautifully so, but it still did. It was a beautiful thing, and I was so impressed with how both these guys just went. And you know what? Kurt Angle didn't even need Team Angle. He and Benoit just had a beautiful championship match in a time where, let's be real, the World Heavyweight Champion was heavily leaning on Evolution for help against Scott Steiner. Like, really, Hunter? Okay, if you say so.
Right.
But these two guys on the SmackDown side of things went.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Well. Hold my milk for Kurt Angle. But yeah. So just this match to this day, I almost can't watch it because it makes me feel so wonderful that these two had such a great match. And I go, yeah, but I almost go, yeah, but it's such a thing of beauty.
Then that asterisk pops up next to it. The circumstances of 2007.
Damn. It's like son of a bitch. All right.
All right.
Are you doing?
Now that Dennis talked for 45 minutes.
Well, no. Are you doing your matches now, or do you want? Or you want me to do my Rumble winners too now?
I'll do my matches, my winners, and then we'll bring it back to you to close it out.
Got it. There you go.
All right. So, wow, we have 4 matches in common.
Okay.
And all 4 of them fall in the 1 through 5 portion of my list. So none of my 6 through 10 we had in common.
Wow. Okay.
Number 10, I'm just going to start things off. I feel like it was a damn good match, especially considering the story about what had happened the month prior.
Mm-hmm.
The Hardys versus Eminem from 2007.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
You've got Eminem, who just recently came back together. Yes. The Hardys, who had just recently come back together at the pay-per-view prior. Mercury's smashed up nose were wearing the face mask. And they still went out there and put on a clinic.
Yes, they did.
Arguably one of the best tag teams of the Attitude Era versus the tag team of now. At that point in 2007. Absolutely. And they just stole the show with an unprecedented contest. The only thing missing, in my opinion, was Lita coming out to handle Melina.
Right.
That would have been perfect. But at that point, Lita and Matt were no longer a thing. Lita was off with Edge. So, if she had
Actually,
ran out
actually,
there
by then she was retired.
January of 07? I don't think so.
Yes.
I think she retired later that year, didn't she?
She regained the title at Cyber Sunday after Trish retired, and then lost to Mickey at Survivor Series and retired.
I remember it was Survivor Series, but I couldn't remember if it was 06 or 07. But still, she
06.
could have come out for that surprise pop just to
definitely.
beat up on Melina.
Absolutely.
Much like her run-in during the WrestleMania Triangle match. You know, we had Spike out there for the Dudleys. You had Rhino out there for ENC. You had Lita come out there for the Hardys. Could have been the similar type of thing. I digress. But that was the only thing, in my opinion, missing from this match.
I will definitely agree with that. I will definitely agree with that. And, you know, Lita running out for a pop would have been tremendous. I would have loved that.
Number 9, for the Intercontinental Championship in 2002. Edge defending against William Regal.
Indeed.
Edge, fresh off the King of the Ring back in June of the following year, really starting to cement himself as a single star. And then you've got Regal, who just constantly puts on great matches. Even at his worst, Regal is usually better than a good chunk of the roster. And these two just went to town at the Rumble.
They did, man.
And it was an amazing match.
And it's so funny. You don't really think of like any particular William Regal match. He's just a great performer.
Yeah.
But his stuff with Edge was really golden. I very underrated from my point of view.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard me say it when you were dealing with things in your room there, but I said that Regal on his worst day is still better than 90% of the roster on their best days.
Today.
Yeah.
Today, folks.
Number 8 on my list is a WWE Championship match, and it's just sentimental to me.
Oh, man, here
From
we go.
2011, Randy
baby.
Orton challenging the Awesome One, The Miz. You know, Miz was definitely in the swing of the fluke, if you will.
Right.
He had cashed in his briefcase on Orton, and everyone still tried to play him up as a one-shot deal.
Yep.
But then he retained.
Yeah.
And he retained. And he defeated John Cena at WrestleMania with dubious circumstances, granted.
Hey.
But the record books say The Miz pinned Cena at the Wrestling Super Bowl. But this match against Randy, and I really went back and forth here about whether I was going to do The Miz and Randy or if I was going to do Rocky and Punk.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Because Rocky and Punk was a damn good match too.
It was.
But I felt like I had to go with The Miz here. Slight edge, because as we all know, Rocky's run was nothing more than a tool to give back to Cena after Cena giving to him the year prior.
Right.
So not only did he then finally vanquish The Rock, but he got his belt back also.
Yeah, we don't talk about that Rumble very much around here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But Miz Orton, I feel was, you mentioned coming out parties. I feel like this was really Miz's coming out party as champion. He proved that he could defeat Orton, retain his title, and keep on pushing and silence the naysayers.
Yep. Although, lest we forget, CM Punk did interfere in this match and cost Randy the match. So
true.
But heels got cheat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Number 7 is a match from one of my favorite feuds of the Attitude Era, especially of 1998. again for the Intercontinental Championship.
Ah, yes.
The Rock and Shamrock.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Shamrock asked Rocky to do something to help induct him into the Impact Hall of Fame speaks volumes about Shamrock's thoughts of their feud.
And vice versa.
Yeah. I was going to say, the fact that Rocky accepted and did it shows what Rocky feels, because without Shamrock, and granted, yes, he had some run-ins with Hunter prior to this, and arguably Hunter would be one of Rocky's best feuds. But without Shamrock, there is no Rock winning the title at Survivor Series. In my opinion, I feel like Shamrock really, really, really brought out of him that chutzpah that we needed to have Rocky as champion.
Right, because I mean, recall, Rock got the title from an Austin format. So we really didn't get a good, decent program out of Rock and Austin then, other than the Beeper 316, which is just tremendous. We didn't get Rock Austin, full bore until 99, really.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Ken Shamrock really helped The Rock get to where he needed to be by the time Survivor Series 98 happened. Very much so.
And again, if you don't believe me, go back, watch this match, watch their match at WrestleMania 14, watch the King of the Ring finals match.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Watch that trilogy, if you will.
Yep.
They both did a huge favor for each other, because without The Rock, Shamrock doesn't win the IC title tournament to become Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
I mean.
Yeah, it's really funny when you look back and you think about the beginnings of the corporation, and you sit there and you know that Vince McMahon's sitting back there doing this shit with his corporation team. It's like, well, okay, Rocky helped Shamrock, and I'm remembering. So in storyline terms, even there's that they're each other's density or destiny. I'm gonna keep using that back references all week. I don't give a shit. Anyway, go ahead.
You know me, I love it.
I know.
Number 6.
I'll be revealed next week, kids. I promise. Anyway,
number 6 is the oldest match on my list.
Okay.
From 1993 for the Intercontinental title, Shawn Michaels defending against Marty Jannetty.
I forgot all about this match. I honestly did. Wow.
1 year removed from throwing him through the barbershop window.
He dove out himself.
But still, the feud felt so fresh because there wasn't the overabundance of television and pay-per-view then as there is now.
Right.
You had the Big Four. You had the occasional Saturday night main event or Superstars, whatever the equivalent was at the time.
Right.
You didn't have 2 shows a week, monthly pay-per-views to really help propel the storyline. So aside from house shows and the tours, this feud still felt fresh a year later.
Yeah. You guys need to keep something in mind here. This Royal Rumble pay-per-view happened, a week or two after Raw debuted? So there wasn't Monday Night Raw to drive anything yet.
No.
So when Jannetty tried to dive out that window as a chicken shit, a year prior, and Shawn, tried to catch him with all his strength, and he couldn't hang on to his leg, poor bastard.
Gotta love
Marty had his issue. God bless you, Bobby. Thank you so much forever for the material. Golly, I miss him so much. Anyway, I'm gonna cry now. I'm getting so teary. Okay, so Marty had his demons, whatever he had, and he went into that match, a year later because he had been off and they were trying to get how they're going to bring him back. And then they had Marty accidentally hit Sherry with the mirror, which took Sherry off TV and made Shawn look like a bigger piece of crap, which is why her involvement here is so key. So there you go.
And you wanted Marty to win here. But Shawn had only barely just gotten the belt himself.
Yeah.
And his star was definitely on the rise. I mean, we all know what happened to that Shawn Michaels from the Rockers, but whatever happened to Marty Jannetty? Marty Jannetty is the reason we have the term Marty Jannetty. What tag team member is going to become the Marty Jannetty and who's going to be the Shawn Michaels? My top 5.
Top 5. Here we go.
Number 5.
And this is year 4, you said. So
yeah.
Good
Number
grief.
5 was, as you described it so eloquently, a clusterfuck. Tag team tables from 2000, Hardys and Dudleys.
Oh man, yeah, pretty much.
Like we talked about it ad nauseum when it was on your list, but like you said, without No Mercy, there's no tables match. Without the tables match, there's no triangle ladders. Without triangle ladders, there's no TLC revolutionizing what tag team wrestling would become for the next good 3 to 5 years at least.
At least.
So much so to the point that that Money in the Bank was birthed off of the success of TLC.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that year marker up. I still maintain, and this is going to sound really strange, I maintain the biggest thing that suffered in any brand extension the company has undertaken, the tag team division.
Agreed, because generally tag teams get broken up because of the draft. They don't get drafted as teams, they get drafted as individuals.
Yeah.
And then the teams get broken up, and then you get things like Bubba and Spike. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Spike, and he is a Dudley.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not Devon.
No.
The chemistry's not there.
No. What I find about the first extension, anyway, was that we had established World Tag Team Champions, and instead of creating a counterpart for the other show, they just, tag team just goes to so we're going to have every tag team in the company on this one show. No, that's a bad Vince. And then, with the recent ones, I'm going to go just 1 second here. The stupidest tag team breakup of the modern era, and I don't know if you've caught up with this yet or not, they break up Billy and Peyton, the Iconics. What is Billy doing on SmackDown? Trying to find a new tag team partner. What is Peyton doing? Teaming with Lacey Evans when she's not pointing Ric Flair on the side. Why did you break them up in the first place? Anyway, I'm good.
I've seen articles where Peyton voices her displeasure about that. Yeah. I have not seen any SmackDowns since the first of the year, but I have seen every Raw.
Yeah.
It's a start, goddammit, leave me alone.
Yeah, she had that one interview, but then she talked to Denise Salcedo. She did not mince words to Denise. I mean, God bless Denise for airing it, man, because it's go watch it. NoDQ.com. I'm telling you, it's worth the watch.
My number 4 was your number 1. Angle Benoit for the title.
Woo! Okay.
Angle Benoit for the title, my number 4.
Wow.
But just wait.
There's more.
Yeah. Again, we talked about it ad nauseum when you mentioned it, so I'm not going to go into more details here, but without this match, Benoit does not win the Rumble the next year. Bottom line. Without this match,
you're
proving that he could hang with Kurt like he had in their feud going back to the beginning, Benoit doesn't win the Rumble the following year, become champion. And to think, as you pointed out, Kurt's neck was already bobbleheading, and they didn't drop the belt to Benoit to then drop to Lesnar. Benoit Lesnar would have been just as epic as Angle Lesnar was. And if Kurt was really that bad off, they should have pulled the trigger there.
Well, you have to remember something, though. they don't know how bad Kurt is yet because he hasn't said anything. Number one. Number two, the following month, Edge is going to go down for a year. So, and they built the entire title loss to Big Show around getting to Angle and Lesnar at WrestleMania. So, and granted, Benoit got the short end of that stick, freaking shorter straw than Devon got in the ladder matches, because he was in a freaking tag team triple threat cluster crap with Rhino against the Guerreros and Team Angle. Was like, what the hell is this crap? So Benoit got shorted. Yes, I grant you, but the story was Angle Lesnar. They had to get there and they had to get out of it. So I understand where you're coming from with going the other way with Benoit, but I completely understand why Vince did what he did too. So
I hear you. Number 3, 2001 Intercontinental title, Benoit Jericho.
Nice. Very cool.
Like you said, that's definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my go-tos.
Absolutely.
For either man, if we're being honest.
Yes.
It would be higher up on my go-to list for Jericho, lower down for Benoit, just because there's so many other Benoit matches that I like over it.
Right.
But it would definitely be on, if we still made VHS tapes, kiddies.
Right.
My best of either one of them.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah. If there was ever a Benoit compilation DVD again, definitely on that one. If they ever do a Jericho full career once he retires, it's got to be on there. So
it probably won't be because of Benoit, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But anyway,
number 2, another one we talked about ad nauseum. Hunter Cactus.
Okay.
From 2000.
Okay, I know what number 1 is. Go ahead. Okay. I remember.
Like you said, if Triple H doesn't sell it, it's dead in the water.
Yeah.
And Triple H, for all the shit we give him, knew exactly how to play it.
Oh, yeah.
And were it not for that match on Raw back in 97, Triple H probably would have killed it dead in the water.
But he knew.
He knew exactly. At that point, Cactus Jack was a special attraction. Mankind was the main gimmick. Dude Love was the secondary gimmick. Cactus had its run, but it was never the Foley focus, if you will.
Yeah, and
Nick
allowed Cactus to be buried because of what happened with Terry and the DX in the cage. And he allowed Dude Love to come out of that, much to his chagrin looking back. But yeah, Cactus kind of died on the vine there without really a good send-off. So this was key for Cactus.
Big time. Number 1, I Quit, 1999, Mankind Rocky.
Okay, you threw me off completely. I could have sworn you were going to say Hunter and Sean, Last Man Standing. Wow. Okay. Honorable mention, by the way.
I remember watching this. You have to keep in mind, this was still in my infancy as a fan.
True.
I'd maybe been a fan about 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, since SummerSlam, roughly, right?
Roughly. We weren't even ordering the pay-per-views yet.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Pay-per-views were something that I would get a copy of the VHS usually a couple days to a week after it aired.
Oh, okay.
I watched that match and was like shaken for Foley.
Oh, yeah.
Because primarily of those chair shots.
I love it.
First of all, let's not overlook everything else Foley put his body through in that match. Let's not glaze over that, but those chair shots specifically. Then you fast forward a few months to the release of Beyond the Mat.
God, yeah.
And you watch all the behind the scenes stuff of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Colette and Dewey and Noelle in the front row watching her husband, their father, get beat to crap.
Bludgeoned. Flat out bludgeoned.
And you just feel even more. Would this match be where it is on my list without Beyond the Mat? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But between seeing that match at the point that I did in my wrestling fandom, plus the Beyond the Mat footage, plus the fact that I was always a fan of both these two men. Rocky was one of the few heels that I gravitated towards from the beginning because he was so fucking entertaining with his mouthpiece. And Mick was that cuddly teddy bear that everyone just wanted to love. Number one, Rock Foley. And as we said, without Rock Foley, there's no Rock Austin.
Yes.
At least not to the caliber that there was.
Right.
Because it was on the horizon. It had to happen. Would it have been as monumental? Probably not.
Let me just say this about that match. And I don't know if it was on my list the first time we shot this, so forgive me. But I can't watch. There's very few things I flat out cannot watch in wrestling. I've been doing this so long. I've been a fan so long. There's pretty much very few things that really mess with me. But between knowing Mick through the years and my concussion history in the last, turns out 20 years now, I can't do this match. I can't watch it. I can't enjoy it because it gets so out of hand that it's very, very difficult to watch.
It is meant to be barbaric. It is meant to establish Rocky as a monster heel.
Right, and
but it's only supposed to be 3 or 4 chair shots.
Yeah, I mean,
not 15, 16, whatever it ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, and knowing what we know now, 11 unprotected chair shots directly to the head. It makes every concussion patient, everybody that's had issues with head trauma, something like that, my neck hurts right now thinking about it, man. It just shakes me to my very core, and I can't watch that. I can get through Hell in a Cell with him and Taker, but it's difficult because, again, knowing him and reading his books, you know exactly what he went through, and it's not. For everything that wrestling has given to me and for everything that wrestling has been for me in 30 years plus now, it's a screwed up business. It's a screwed up industry. There's a lot of darkness. There's a reason Dark Side of the Ring show exists. Let's not kid ourselves. This match, as much as Mick wanted to get The Rock into that place where even Shane McMahon in storyline, yes, even Shane McMahon, dude, enough. Like, stop. Like, it's very hard, and I only don't list it because of my own personal issues with concussions. So it is a spectacle. If you're into stuff like that, I don't judge you. I don't begrudge you that. You go ahead and watch it. I will not. I can't sit through that match. I skip over on the network every single time. I can't. Anyway, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Now we transition
to
the top 10 winners of the Rumble match.
Yeah, baby.
I'm going to shoot straight out the gate here. Number 10, Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
I know it's not a popular decision for some people. I know it's not a popular win for some people, right, especially considering the circumstances and why he won it.
Right.
Because I will still to this day say that if they wanted a Rumble winner to honor Eddie's death, you had Benoit, you had Chavo.
Yep. Exactly.
But Benoit had had his moment. And let's be real, I love Chavo to death. He didn't have the drawing power of Mysterio.
No.
Never did, never will.
Right.
So, with what they were presented, it was the best option.
I will agree with that.
He took the ball, he ran with it, and good for him. It was probably the only way he was ever going to become champion. But again, you can go back and forth on this all day. Did he deserve it?
Yeah.
Did he not deserve it? Let's think of it this way. If Eddie hadn't died and had won the title the night he passed, like the rumor was that he was supposed to.
Right.
Then Ray goes on and wins the Rumble in 06. And you have Eddie versus Ray in Mania.
Mm.
Not near as shit on as Ray winning the way he won it, why he won it.
Makes sense.
That's all I have to say about that. Number 9.
Tom Hanks month's almost over. Number the Forrest Gump references.
Hey, Forrest Gump is being replayed on your network after this, goddammit. So,
wrong week, but it's okay.
Number 9, the hitman himself, Bret Hart.
Ooh, okay.
Despite the finish,
yes,
and even despite the fact that Bret had already been champion, Bret winning this match was just one more notch on his belt. He had already been 2-time King of the Ring winner. Once before it was a pay-per-view, and the year prior, its premiere as a pay-per-view.
Right.
So to win the Rumble definitely made sense for somebody like Bret. And then, of course, he was able to go on and win the title at Mania with that great moment bookending the show. Opening and a losing effort to your brother, but that doesn't matter. Stay focused, win the title to end the night.
And like we said earlier, talking about Owen in the tag team match with Quebecers, that whole program, that got really, when you think about it, the program with Owen got Bret through most of the next year and a half.
Yeah.
Because he faced Backlund at WrestleMania because of Owen shafting him for the title of Backlund at Survivor Series. And then they pretty much went into, I think it was the first Action Zone with their last one-on-one TV match. That was only a month after WrestleMania 11. They got kind of cold there for a while, but Shawn had Bret, Owen had Yokozuna as a partner, and he went to tag team wrestling. So Bret winning the Rumble definitely, at the same show Owen turned on him again. Let's you talk about bookends. He bookends the show Royal Rumble with losing in the opener and then winning the Rumble. So Bret's a good bookender.
Very much so. There's a reason they call him the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Right, baby.
Number 8 on my list is the first 2-timer on my list. The Legend Killer, the Viper, Randy Orton.
What number are you on?
8.
Okay.
It's no secret how much of an Orton fan I am.
Right.
From day one, let's be honest here.
Yes.
For those that don't know my history, when he debuted on SmackDown with that farmer comb down hair, throwing up the O hand signal, Yeah. I go back with Randy.
Oh man, yeah.
Through the RNN network,
Oh my goodness gracious.
I had the song for the RNN network downloaded for a while.
You're shitting me.
Dead serious.
That's tremendous.
Because that's how much of an Orton fan as I am.
Hell yeah, baby.
But yeah, Randy, in my opinion, Randy's first win in 09 came really late.
Yeah.
By the point that he won it, and even by the point that Cena won it in 08, neither one of them really needed it. It was more of a notch in the belt.
I will get into my opinions on both those guys later. Spoiler alert.
No worries. But that's just my 2 cents there. By the time they won them, neither one of them really needed it. But it was good to see Randy get that accolade as a fan of his.
Agree wholeheartedly.
Number 7, we talked about a couple times when we were talking about our matches, Chris Benoit.
Number 7's Benoit. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Say what you will about the circumstances of that weekend. You know, it divides an entire wrestling community. But when Benoit walked in at 1 and won the whole thing, the world cheered.
In an actual full-on Royal Rumble, not a freaking 1995, speedster.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Shawn Michaels, but
the man who never was going to win the big one was now this close.
Yep.
He had the shot. Would he be successful? And we all know he was.
Yes, very much so.
Number 6 on my list of Rumble winners is a man that I know you do not like. But to say that he did not deserve it at this point in his career would be just flat out a lie. Brock Lesnar. For Brock to win it in 03 after coming in, crushing the competition, winning King of the Ring, becoming champion, like you said, this gets him to Kurt.
Yeah.
Without this Rumble, without this dominance, he does not get to Kurt. And that's what he needed. And for the Cinderella year that it was for Lesnar, just one more notch, because you got to figure he did all that in less than a year. He debuted the night after Raw.
Yep. Mania.
Won King of the Ring in June, won the title in August, won the Rumble in January, defeated Kurt again in March. 1 year run.
Yeah.
Again, I know he's not your favorite.
No.
But for this point in his career, I think you can admit that it was a deserved win and he deserves a spot on a list. Maybe not yours, but a list.
I will always concede when a athlete is at a point in his career where he is deserving of the accolade and the recognition. And at this point in his existence, he wasn't a complete poop head. So I'm okay with Brock right here.
Number 5, we go from a wrestler that you hate to your favorite wrestler of all time.
Brother.
The immortal
Hulk
Hogan.
I don't know why I wooed there. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, 2-time Rumble winner.
The first one.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. 2-time Rumble winner. Like you said, the inaugural 2-time Rumble winner. The first back-to-back Rumble winner.
Yes.
The first to get a title shot as a result of winning the Rumble, even though it was not the stipulation at that time.
Right.
Let me finish my sentence, Professor. I got it laid out here. He was the first to get a title shot, despite it not being the stipulation. The stipulation wouldn't go into effect till 93 after the Flair win in 92.
And he still won that one anyway, so it didn't matter.
But 91, as you pointed out when we shot this the first time,
yes,
they needed someone to defeat the Turncoat Slaughter, and the American hero Hogan, hot off of his Rumble win, was the perfect person to do it. So indirectly, he got the first shot as a Rumble winner. I still don't believe that in 1990 Hogan needed to win the Rumble. He was in the match as champion. He did not need to win it. I was wondering what you were doing. I figured you were looking for some kind of Hogan something.
I thought I had it hanging here, but I put it on top of the damn monitor on mistake.
But yeah, 1990, he did not need to win.
No.
He could have lost that one or not even been in it, just defended his title on the show.
Right.
But hindsight booking, what you going to do?
Yeah.
Number 4 is the second person to win the title in a Rumble match. Triple H.
Ah.
Also a 2-time winner.
Yes, as of now.
Yeah. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Surprise entrant.
Yeah.
But Triple H, primarily for his 2002 victory,
definitely
is on my list. 2016, when he won the title, not so much. That was more of a screw job entry.
Very much so.
But 2002, comes back from his quads, wins the Rumble, wins the title at Mania. You know, it was a perfect Cinderella story for a guy that you didn't really want to cheer like that.
Right.
He had been such a dastardly heel.
Yes.
But you leave TV for that time, and you miss the Alliance invasion.
Yeah.
And then you come back to the mecca of WWF wrestling, the Garden, and get that pop. Now, we discussed this on the first filming, so I'll just go ahead and bring it up here real quick so we can touch on it.
Okay.
Should they have saved his return for a surprise entry in the Rumble? Would it have still had the same reaction?
Yeah.
Or did they make the right move going to the Garden and having him declare himself there, you know?
Right.
With the reaction that surprise entries get these days, I think they would have saved him for a surprise. But back then, the surprise entries didn't really get that huge of a pop. You know, you can't really think of a surprise entrant pre-02 that just got that holy shit pop.
Well, so I guess not. Yeah, I mean, no. Foley, only because of the 3 times. That was kind of unique. It wasn't a big pop. It was pretty decent pop.
But he didn't get that holy shit pop.
Right. Yeah. If Haku had been a bigger star when he came back, it would have been no shit because he literally walked into that Rumble as the damn WCW Hardcore Champion.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell are you doing here? Did you miss your exit on the freeway? They're over there.
Number 3 is the first man to win the title in the Rumble. The Nature Boy, Rick motherfucking Flair.
That's right. And you know, by the way, I need to say before you get into the Flair spiel, I know it's gonna be good because I know it's you.
Well,
I love my intro.
I was going to save a little bit of the Flair spiel for you because I know he's on your list.
For sure. But I will say this. I love my introduction that you give me, but the YouTube popo watching my F-bombs. So we got to be careful.
Thank you for the heads up. I will try to save them for special occasions.
Trust me, I miss Jack Johnson too. I do. I miss him to pieces. But as we all talked about, unnecessary sacrifice. So, anyway, carry on.
But Ric Flair in arguably the greatest Rumble of all time.
Yeah. And yeah.
It's hard to find a Rumble that's better.
Right.
There's a couple that come pretty darn close. 98 is always going to be sentimental to me because that was the year I started watching wrestling.
Right.
Plus the 3 faces of Foley.
Right.
Plus something that doesn't get talked about a lot in the 98 Rumble, I'm going to touch on real quick before I turn it back over to you.
Okay.
But Ric Flair in the 92 Rumble, just arguably the greatest Rumble of all time. Yep. Everyone talks about WrestleMania 17 being the greatest Mania of all time. And I'll argue that from my own standpoint because I feel WrestleMania 20 is better.
Right.
But like I said, it's hard to find a better Rumble, especially Rumble match.
Yeah.
You could maybe argue the 2011 40-man Rumble just because of Diesel's entry and Matt Stryker damn near shitting himself. But again,
but overall star power, it's hard to beat 92.
Yeah.
Like everybody in that match is a star. There's not a jobber to be had. Yeah, the Bushwhackers are in there, but they're not really. Even they were stars. Like there was no like Hammenegger they threw in there. Freaking Ellsworth or some shit. So everybody in there's a superstar. Everybody.
Poor Ellsworth. Such a nice guy.
He is, but he also was a dirtbag. It turned out. So what are you gonna do? Anyway,
number 2 is another 2-timer.
Yes,
and the very first man to win from the number 1 spot. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
I know who your number 1 is.
Shawn Michaels, again, we talked about the Marty Jannetty aspect when we talked about the Rockers on your list. Shawn Michaels is the reason why we have the Shawn Michaels rule.
Right. Yeah.
Both feet must hit the floor. I can guarantee you they're probably going to show the clip of him dangling there with 1 foot touching the ground at least 3 to 5 times during the pay-per-view.
Very likely.
Between the kickoff, the hype package, the Rumble by the numbers, it's going to happen. There's at least 3 right there. Yep. Number 1, the Texas Rattlesnake, the only 3-timer, even though it's really only a 2-timer. Maybe you can consider 2.5. But the only, in the record books, 3-timer, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I want to say it was the 01 Rumble where he's just chucking people left and right, sitting on the turnbuckle, checking his watch. Who's coming out next? God damn it. Get another jabroni out here. I'm ready to beat some ass.
Well, that was 97 for a while. 01, he didn't because he came in late and he pretty much got besieged by Hunter. 02, he did the watch thing for a little bit because he was doing the what's with it, and then Hunter came out. So, but yeah, 97 in Texas, he was just, and he got all tired and he got up and the music hit was press music, and he just like, oh no, why does it have to be breath?
But
good stuff.
All
right. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We share 8 winners.
I figured as much. Now, the thing I want to bring up from the 98 Rumble, if I may, real quickly, is I noticed this when I was watching it back to do my due diligence for the show.
Absolutely.
The 98 Royal Rumble, at one point, as it got deep into the Rumble, I forget exactly what number it happened, but you had all 5 members of the nation in the Rumble at the same time.
That's right.
And none of them worked together.
Yeah.
That always kind of blew my mind. Like, I made note of it watching it this time. I know they were kind of doing the whole Farouk, Rocky trying to take over the nation, Farouk not getting the respect. But, dude, if those 5 men had knuckled up,
Yeah.
they could have cleaned the entire reign.
Yep.
But they didn't, for whatever reason.
At that point, they were a 5-man unit. Every single one of them was a badass.
Yeah.
There was no sexual chocolate. There was no Godfather.
Yeah,
there was no
it was still
Crown
Kama
on the
Mustafa.
shoulders. Huh? Yeah.
It was still Kama Mustafa.
It was a badass militant unit.
It was just something that I noticed, and I felt like I had to bring up here with the professor because,
yes,
again, it just shows the homework I'm doing, the research, the little things that you pick up, and like, why?
Yeah.
Why did they not at least try to get a couple people out?
Right?
Before Rocky then turned and chucked Farouk or something, you know?
Hannigan's. Wait.
Anyways, Jeff, go ahead and take over for your 10.
All right.
We got about 25 minutes till we hit the 2-hour mark.
That's okay. We went hour 45 last time, so we're definitely gonna pass that. All right. So I'll post this match show as soon as we're done today. Good to know, because it'll take a long to freaking upload. All right. Like I said, we share 8. We share 1 in the same spot.
Okay.
My number 10 is going to surprise you. Oh no, I'm sorry. My number 8 is going to surprise you. My number 10 was on your list at all. The Undertaker. And I say that because the Rumble win he got in 2007 led to what I feel is the most grossly underrated world championship match in WrestleMania history. Him and Batista. Say what you want about Big Dave, and we all have our opinions about Dave and his wrestling skills or whatever. He and Undertaker went in there mid-card and only really got followed properly by the fact that it was John Cena facing Shawn Michaels in the last match. Because if you remember, it was supposed to be Cena Hunter 2. And Hunter tore his other quad because he wanted to keep it with the old man. So, freaking jealous, freaking big nose bastard. Anyway,
Hunter do is Hunter do.
It's seriously just Greg and I watched it on Rewind yesterday. Just the moment when you see him slide in, it's like, oh God, all right, just makes your skin crawl because you know he's screwed. And then he walks in the back because he's freaking got grapefruit sized balls. Anyway, Undertaker winning the Royal Rumble very much was a notch on the bedpost. Like, I got this. Does he really need King of the Ring? No. Rumble, I think he did only because it was a huge stepping stone to WrestleMania, which is where he dominates. But to get a guaranteed seat in the house, that's a cool way to go. And to do it against Shawn Michaels at the end is even cooler.
Yeah.
So. And in Texas, no less, for both of them. So there you go. My number 9 was your number 8, the Viper, Legend Killer himself, Randy Orton. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spoil a later pick and just go right now. You said that Randy Orton and John Cena both came at a time where they weren't necessary. They're both on my list, for the record.
I figured they would be.
John winning in 08 was huge for so many reasons. The way he cashed in, no way out, crap. Complete crap, waste of it. I ended up with a freaking triple threat match for the main event, which I just love those. And I had to go watch one in person. Luckily, Undertaker and Edge made that show. But John, the pop he got, he tore his pec clear to here. And he walked out of the garden and went, okay. And it was such a cool moment, and it was a great win for him. And he will be coming up later. Randy, the first year he won, you have to remember, he was right in the beginning of that odyssey with the McMahons. He had just taken Vince out the week prior on Raw. For all we knew, his career was over. And he won the Rumble. So he basically preserved his spot on the roster. Because you knew Stephanie was going to come out and fire his ass for taking Vince out. And instead, Shane walked out there and picked the fight. And he got his head kicked off too. So Randy Orton winning preserved his spot on the roster and kept the journey on the road to WrestleMania and getting to Hunter and finally having it outed on TV that, yeah, Hunter and Stephanie are really a thing. Now, people argue, well, yeah, that led to the Authority, and we hated the Authority. You were interested. You wanted to see what they were going to do. You wanted to see who was going to stop them. So were you really not wanting to see him? Or are you just being a fan? You be the judge. My number 8 is your number 10, Ray. And I know, again, another shocker from me. Ray's on my list. I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, I don't even, like, it's why? It's been 15 years, Jeff. Get over yourself. Seriously. It wasn't going to be Chavo. Like you said, we both love Chavo. Met him a few times. Great guy. He's not going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. No. Okay? He's just not. I will argue it could have been Chris because I'd rather see Benoit in the world title match than him against freaking JBL for the U.S. title and dropping the belt. Let's not forget that. So, granted, JBL kind of had what he had there. He was going to retire. I think that it should have been Benoit winning it, if anybody, for Eddie. But we got Ray, and we got a great moment at WrestleMania with POD playing him out, and we got the moment with Vicky and Chavo on the stage, and backstage backstage at the Rumble, and Edge picking on him when the 4, Jericho, Malenko, Ray, Benoit, and I think Jericho was standing there with him too, I think. And Edge came up and kind of gave him razzed him for it. He catching on me. So, and then he lost the title a few minutes later, you dork. So I love Ray's win now. I'm over the hate because there's no point in hating on it because I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
My number 7 was your number 7, Chris Benoit. Again, take out the last weekend of June. Carve. Whoop, there we go. This was the greatest coast-to-coast WrestleMania Royal Rumble win ever. Ever. Paul Heyman booked him in that one spot to spot. Hi, there we go. We're hour 40 and I can't talk. Leave me alone. Booked him in that number 1 spot to completely screw him out of any chance on WrestleMania. And Benoit looked at that silly little general manager and went, yeah, okay. And suplexed the Big Show in what was a 45-minute suplex out of the ring to win the Rumble. But he went coast to coast. He went through everybody. Just an amazing performance by an amazing athlete, and it led to one of the very few moments nowadays in my jaded ass fandom that I still cry like a baby when he and Eddie are out there at the Garden at Mania. I cannot do that without needing a bucket underneath me and a case of tissues. And it starts here at the Rumble. Side note on Benoit. Him, Eddie, and Hardcore Holly against Daniel Puder. One of the greatest things ever. We watched it yesterday. Go back and watch Wrestling Rewind. It's good stuff, kids. My number 6 was your number 4, Ledge. Again, you pointed out very astutely. Does it need to really be a 2-time winner? No. Did we really need to have that WrestleMania main event after the WrestleMania took about 45 hours? No. 2002, that Pop of the Garden, coming out in Atlanta. And lest we forget the Atlanta Royal Rumble. Ric Flair's in a semi-main after the company based in that city pretty much dragged him down for 3 years. And he's out there tussling with the boss and bleeding like a pig in front of his kids. So that's a cool moment at that Rumble. And then you've got a great moment in the ring when Hunter comes out because the former Stunning Steve Austin in WCW is waiting for the cast aside Jean-Paul Levesque coming out to face it. It's like I think there were more WCW guys in that Rumble than there were WWE guys. I really think that because a lot of those guys were walking out there like, yeah, Atlanta, remember me? So it was a great Rumble, and Triple H made it for a great win. Wonderful, wonderful match. The 16-1, like, okay. Again, it's so hard to freaking nitpick every little damn thing because that's what I do for a living, but I didn't see where the money was in him and Roman at Mania. I wouldn't have gone to that WrestleMania. Even though it was played where the Dallas Cowboys play, and I love the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't have gone to that Mania with that as the marquee main event. Now, the fact that you have Charlotte and Sasha and Becky in the triple threat for what became the Women's Championship, I'm in for that one. But I'm not going to pay full price for a ticket. Love those girls. Still do. But with that main event, I'll watch it on bootleg. I'm good. And I watched it anyway all day and drove into the night to go home. And I hate Vince for that to this day. Anyway, my number 5 was your... Where did you have him? I thought you said his name, but I guess not. My number 5 is John Cena. Again, both of his wins were monumental in their own way. The 08 one was the huge return, basically 2 months into a minimum 8-month recovery because he's freaking Superman and he's got kryptonite blood or Kryptonian blood, excuse me. But then the 13 one where he gets his freaking redemption started, man. And then The Rock wins the title, so you know where we're going. As much as I detested The Rock winning the championship, and we all know I did at the time, we knew we were going, man. We were going to MetLife. We were going to get John get that redemption that we personally knew he needed. It was so awesome. And it happens here at the Rumble. That's why. And the 13 Rumble, I barely remember any of it other than John winning. That's how, it wasn't a big thing overall, but we're talking Rumble winners here. And John was a huge winner in both cases. My number 4 was your number 5, the Hulkster. Again, first 2-time winner, first back-to-back winner, first person to be champion and enter the match. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. Scratch that. Technically speaking, he is the first Rumble winner to end up in the main event of WrestleMania, 1990. From then on, the Rumble winner has been in a main event slot, whether it's the last match or not, championship match at WrestleMania. And again, did he need it in 1990? No. Would it have been better if Warrior had won it and really set the road to WrestleMania? Oh, yeah. No question. And I don't even like the Warrior, but I would have been okay with that because they had that moment in the ring together, and it was a cool moment. But Hulk Hogan, I tend not to, gush too much on Hulk anymore because there is a lot of darkness on his path, and I get that. But he, at the time he was winning the Royal Rumbles, was still the guy. And in 91, we needed a hero to take the title off of that dirty turncoat that had screwed the Warrior, thanks to the Macho King. So we needed Hulk then. My number 3 is your number 2, Shawn Michaels. Second 2-time winner, second back-to-back winner, first to go coast to coast, although it was a shortened Rumble because of the 60-second intervals, but it's still Shawn Michaels doing the Shawn Michaels rule is all he can do. First to have number 1 and number 2 go coast to coast because he and Davey went all the way together that year, so that was a cool moment. Not the greatest star-studded Rumbles the first time, but it was still a cool moment to have somebody go all the way to the end from the start, and to have that moment where he only had one foot. And he even said later that he wasn't supposed to, he was supposed to have no feet touch, and he was just being a freaking cocky dick to Vince and going, I can do it. So, I mean, Shawn being Shawn 95, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shawn doing Shawn things. But 96 was a cool moment. I had forgotten that he had eliminated Kevin at the end. Because Diesel hadn't totally turned yet. He had just dropped bread on his ass, right? And then, like, Shawn kicked Diesel out, and they had the moment. Diesel kind of did the thing, and they high-fived him. And as he's walking out, him and Taker have their moment. So the heel turn furthers. And then once Shawn beats Owen at whatever the hell that, In Your House 6, I think it was, that's when Diesel went, okay, and then dropped him flat on his ass in the garden, which led to In Your House 7, which was a great replacement for that WrestleMania 11 piece of crap they put together for themselves. God, poor bastards. Anyway, where the hell was I here? Crap. There we go. My number 2 was your number 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Only a 3-time winner. 3rd back-to-back winner. After Shawn Michaels went back-to-back. Let's not forget that. So we had a pair of back-to-backs right there for 4 years. It was a pretty cool run there. And when you think about where they ended up at the end of that 98 in the ring together Mania, good shit, pal. But yeah, Steve Austin 97 was a great story, and it led to this day, Aaron Riff's favorite match of all time, Austin versus Bret at WrestleMania. And that's where we went. And then he wins 98. We get to him and Shawn. The 99 Rumble, where he was runner-up, was such a Vince, really funny moment though. Great stuff. And then 01, he makes his comeback. He gets the redemption. He's going to win the championship, and then he turns heel. You're like, ooh, this is new. What are we doing? So great stories all throughout Austin winning the Royal Rumble. Awesome stuff. My number 1 was your number 3. And the reason he's number 1 and not one of the 2-time winners or 3-time winners is because I feel that his win and becoming the WWF champion in the process really solidified the Rumble as, okay, this is a major stage. This sets us up for WrestleMania. Ric Flair. And to this day, one of his top 5 promos ever. And I will stand on that hill and die. That promo he cut in the back with a tear in his eye, with Kurt there, with Bobby there, with Jack Tunney was there too, and Mean Gene trying to put the cigarettes out. Just a great finisher for a great Rumble match, which was called masterfully by Bobby and Gorilla. You said arguably the greatest Rumble of all time. If you factor in everything, the play-by-play and the color commentary from Bobby and Gorilla, you factor in the star power, you factor what's on the line, you factor how it was built around having the NWA guy showing these WWF kids how to go. Great storytelling, great verbiage from the commentators, and a fantastic promo to wrap up the night with that beautiful winged eagle over his shoulder, as only the WWF Championship can look. It's my favorite Rumble. It's my favorite Ric Flair moment in WWF ever. Even the one I went to where he retired, I like this better.
Okay.
Honorable mention, of course, Brock in 03 was he was such a force, and I really wish he wasn't such a freaking prick face, because I really want to like him, but I can't. I enjoyed thoroughly Drew McIntyre kicking him over the freaking top rope last year. That was one of the best moments in recent memory. Hacksaw, of course, the first Rumble winner. You can't neglect Hacksaw. I would go with Brett, but Lex is there too, and I never liked Lex in the WWF, so I can't really I can't separate the two. I know it's weird, but I can't.
All good.
And then Vince winning is just so stupid, but it works. It's so, like I said, the 99 Rumble is the most Attitude Era Royal Rumble, at least till 2000. Vince winning is everything. But then The Rock, quote unquote, winning the next year, and then wait, Big Show says, no, wait, I did this, and we get to the WrestleMania I went to. So I'm all in on that investment because I want to see what I'm going to get to in Anaheim when I get there. So basically, every other buddy I mentioned gets honorable mention because I love, like you said, you love the Rumble pay-per-view, as does Greg. It's my second favorite WWE show of the year.
There you go. What did you guys think out there? Did we forget anybody? Did we leave any matches off of our list?
Are you awake out there? Hello?
I know. Almost 2 hours in. Are there any winners that we didn't touch on that you feel deserve the credit that they deserve? Let us know. Leave the comments in the comment box below. I will try to respond to them. Jeff over here, screw it.
I've been better about it. I've been better.
May try to respond to them.
Coming in progress, exactly.
Make sure you tune in 7 minutes for the replay of Forrest Gump here on the Jeff Meacham Network, since I'm sure you didn't watch its original airing on my channel because this was going on. So please make sure you tune in 6 minutes and check out the replay of Forrest Gump, Renegades reviews.
Okay, so I had Forrest set for 5:30. I guess I'll have it go up at 5 instead. Good grief.
There you go. Until next time here on the Dads, Not Always on Wrestling. Yes, I am the Renegade JJ Williams. He is Jeff Meacham, the West Coast Professor. And we will see you guys next time right here on the Jeff Meacham Network.